Kamusta mga ka-ube? I am Marcos and I am your host for today's UBEH Kwentuhan. And for this episode, meron na naman tayong very special guest na makakakwentuhan. Get ready kasi for sure, mai-inspire kayo sa journey ng guest natin as a successful entrepreneur, family man, former athlete, and of course, as one of UnionDigital's top leaders. Okay, so huwag na natin patagalin to. Let's all welcome our ka-ube and Chief Commercial and Revenue Officer, ang George Clooney ng UnionDigital Bank, Mr. Mike Singh! So of course, for this interview, we all know nga that Sir Mike is the Chief Commercial and Revenue Officer of UnionDigital Bank. But for this time, we came in prepared and we won't be talking all about that. And we want the audiences to know a different side or the other side of Mike Singh. No? The Mike Singh na entrepreneur, Mike Singh, the dad, and of course, the former athlete, and so many more. So are you ready, Sir Mike? Simulan na ba natin to?
Yeah.
Alright, simulan na natin. So Sir Mike, we did a little research and we found out, okay? We found out na isa ka palang very successful businessman. You're actually the king of nachos in the Philippines, our very own Nacho King, no? Alright, so we actually have a photo of Mike. Mike, seems like you haven't eaten a lot of nachos here, huh? Very young. O, di ba? I think everyone here is familiar with the Nacho King brand, no? So you don't just see them in cinemas, but also now they're in different grocery shelves. And if hindi nyo alam, Mr. Mike Singh started it all. So kwentuhan mo naman kami, Sir Mike. How did you start Nacho King?
Yeah, so this dates about 30, maybe 25 plus years ago. I was in college in the United States, and in the cafeteria at my university, there was a Taco Bell. And I used to eat their nachos all the time. So when I graduated in '94, my parents wanted me to stay in the US and build a life there, but I always had this goal to come back to the Philippines. So I moved back to the Philippines, and I did, what any college graduate does. I went and I looked for work. I got a job at BPI. I had this inkling that I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And at the time, malls were popping up all over the country. And the Potato Corner was just starting at that time. And it was a very novel business concept where, one kiosk in a mall serving whatever, right? Snacks. Low investment, easy to start. So that's how I came up with the idea of Nacho King. A high school friend and I developed this concept from scratch. We wanted it to look very Western, like a foreign franchise. We spent a year developing the product, doing the pitch, and we were fortunate enough to be given a chance by SM to open in one of the malls.
Nice. Is there any influential person that inspired you to be a businessman, Mike?
Well, Indians, they say, are the Asian Jews, right?
Yes.
We're very entrepreneurial, and I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My father's an entrepreneur, also in the food industry. And yeah, I just, my plan was, I was born here in the Philippines, an emerging market. I was fortunate enough to study in the United States, which is a highly developed, industrialized country.
And guys, that's just the Nacho King part of Mike's entrepreneurship, no? There's a lot of things that he also has brought here in the Philippines in terms of business. And I know, Mike, that apart from being a Chief Revenue and Commercial Officer of the bank, that you're also doing this. How do you manage and balance it all?
Yeah, so I've gone through phases of my life where I was in corporate, I was an entrepreneur, back and forth. This phase of my life now, I dedicated to this corporate role. The businesses that I have now, I have some Shakey's franchises. Are being run by professionals.
Yeah.
I'm on the board level, so I attend meetings maybe once a month, once a quarter for some of the businesses. But generally speaking, I exited another business about 2-3 years ago and have decided, the last decade of my career will be devoted to the digital banking space here in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yes, and we're very thankful, Mike, that you're actually devoting time to digitize the Philippines in terms of financing. And Mike, I think a lot of people would also like to know that from the kiosks that I was talking about in SM Mega Mall, no, in different malls here in the Philippines, you were able to expand it. Now Nacho King is in different shelves in different groceries in the Philippines. How did you do it? What was the strategy, and how were you able to say that this is the next phase of my business?
Yeah, so I mean, it's as an entrepreneur, you go through various phases of growth and learning and failure and pivoting, you know, much like we're doing now at UnionDigital. When we started, you know, nobody really knew Mexican food in the Philippines. So we introduced it to the market. We were very small, even to find raw materials or finished product like nacho chips was very hard. But when we opened, there was great success with the concept in SM. You know, we had lines out the door, and SM offered us to open across all their malls. So we had to think very fast, right? How were we going to do that? So two things we did is we got into franchising because we didn't have the capital to open 20, 30 stores overnight. So we built a franchise program overnight and got into franchising. And then suppliers couldn't meet demand. Our stores were growing too fast, so we had to vertically integrate, meaning we had to become manufacturers. So we imported a production line from the US, we became nacho chip manufacturers. A new problem became our stores couldn't consume all the chips we were producing. So we started institutional sales of nachos. So we went to restaurants, bars, hotels, we said put nachos on your menu. So that grew to another 50% of our revenue stream. So it's, you know, it's a process of learning, going through failures, learning from it, pivoting. The pandemic, to your question, you know, now we're in groceries. When the pandemic hit, all our stores had to close.
That's correct.
We weren't in the modern trade channel yet, groceries. So we had to pivot very fast and develop that product and enter groceries. And now, you know, we're in over 2,000 stores. We're competing with Tostitos, which is 2-3 times the price, but I think the quality is comparative. So,
I agree.
so that's the ebbs and flows of business.
I think something that we learned from Mike today is that ang pinakamagandang business sense is how quick you pivot whenever every time that circumstances require you to, no? And sa ating mga Pilipino, I think yan yung mga bagay na kailangan natin tignan, na every time things are changing, the landscape is changing, and we're only as good as how quick we change and how we implement that change. So, guys, that is Mike as the businessman, and now that we know that Mike wears a lot of hats, walang tatalo kay Mike din in his hat as being a dad. So, Sir Mike, like I said, we came prepared for this interview, no? And we saw some YouTube videos of you with your children doing different various activities. And ang masasabi ko lang is you're such a cool and supportive dad sa mga anak mo. Okay? Seems like you just don't oversee them, but you actually do the activities with them. Can you give us an idea who Mike Singh is as a dad?
Yeah, I have two boys, 19 and 15. Yeah, it's our wealth, right? Our children. And I treasure, you know, them. I treasure the time with them. I grew up an athlete, so sports is a big part of our relationship now. You know, developing the habits of discipline, sacrifice, work ethic, competition, failing, losing. So yeah, my two boys are into basketball as well. Both, you know, have been MVPs in each grade of their year in school. So very much trying to follow in the footsteps.
Yes.
So yeah, it's great. My first son's off to college now in the US, and yeah, they're growing boys. They're very blessed by the Lord to be a father.
Great, Mike. And for the busy dads out there, probably a lot of dads like you are out there in the marketplace working and doing some businesses. And sometimes, hindi natin maiiwasan, Mike, that sometimes we feel guilty that minsan kulang tayo sa oras sa mga children natin. How do you make your kids understand that daddy is busy and daddy is actually doing this for you?
Yeah, I think they get it. I mean, even if you are consumed with work and providing, well, for one, they know you're a provider, right? You try to give them the best life you can, and there's a trade-off there, right? So I think my kids very much understand that. I mean, my son has the blessing of being able to study in the United States for college. You know that someone has to pay those bills, right?
Correct.
So the weekdays are fairly dedicated to, you know, everyone knows they have their own thing to do. We keep dinner on weeknights pretty sacred. They eat late because of me, because I tend to come home late. And then weekends I pretty much turn off, and it's time with the family and kids. So I think, you know, I'm not, I'm always on for work 24/7 with my cell phone, but weekends I'm generally part of, you know, the household.
Yeah, that's very right, no? Sir Mike is not just engaged with his family, but with us in UnionDigital as well. Always on, always contactable and reachable. Buti na lang, Sir Mike, they have nachos to snack on while waiting for you for dinner. But that's just another story. But then again, you spoke about the weekend, Sir Mike, no? What does a weekend look like in the same household?
Yeah. So we're big foodies, as you might be able to tell. We like to eat out. We like to try new restaurants. Of course, now my kids are teenagers, so it's always a battle to force them to come with mom and dad. They'd rather be with friends, but you know, we try at least one evening on a weekend. We have dinner somewhere, and then during the day, the kids have sports. Sunday is church and family time with my parents and siblings. So we have a fairly good routine. We, you know, have a day for just our immediate family, a day where they see friends, and then Sunday we're with the extended family.
So one thing I think that a very good lesson that I learned from Mike today is that you should always spend time and have time spent for those moments where you can just talk, no? And that's how being present in each other's life look like. Thank you, Mike, for that wonderful lesson. It's very inspiring to know that you can be a career person and at the same time balance family life. So if there's something that we would like to tell Mike as well is that for our special Ka-Ube viewers out there who aspires to be like you, what's your message and tip for them? Like in life, how do they succeed, Mike? Any tips for them?
Yeah, so maybe first and foremost, you know, I believe the Lord has planned to give us all a good life, right? It's one of the famous verses in the Bible. So life is very tough, filled with challenges, filled with adversity. So it's very important to be grounded in faith, in belief that every adversity is another stepping stone to a success. Beyond that, from a very practical perspective, you know, I think Elon Musk said it recently, right? Or somebody said, no, sorry, was it Tom Brady? There are 2 or 3 qualities in life that bring success that surprisingly very few people practice, and it's hard work, consistency, perseverance. I mean, some of these very basic things, right? So that's what I would say. Believe in something, be passionate.
Okay, I don't think I even have to ask and confirm kasi kanina pa ako nagtataglish. And yes, guys, Mike is 100% Pinoy and he can understand Tagalog. Di ba, Mike?
Yes.
Okay. Try natin ang
Totoo.
Tagalog. Oh, totoo yan.
Yeah.
Try natin ang Tagalog skills, di ba? Mike, I have 2 challenges for you.
Yeah.
The first challenge, if you can say this is the easy round. Okay? Say, nakakapagpabagabag.
Nakakapagpagagabag.
Okay, malapit. One more, Mike. Nakakapagpabagabag.
Bagabag.
Pwede na, Mike. Konting practice lang. Alright, let's proceed to the more difficult round,
Oh my God,
Mike.
it's
Okay?
impossible to say.
This is a Pinoy tongue twister, no? And I think you've heard this before as well. So it goes like this. Minikaniko ni Monico ang makina ng minika ni Monica.
Minikaniko ni Monico ang makina ng minika ni Monica.
Very good! Alright! There you go mga ka-ube! And that's it para sa episode natin today. Thank you very much, Mr. Mike Singh. And may pahabol message ba kayo sa mga viewers natin? Sa mga ka-ube natin who are subscribed to us?
No, thank you for being loyal customers. We work very hard every day, including Marcos, to develop products and features that serve you in the financial services space. So keep supporting us. Thank you for that support and look out for better stuff coming ahead.
So ayan, salamat ulit Sir Mike, and thank you to all our viewers for watching, and catch us again in our next UBEH Kwentuhan. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ube bye!
Ito ang aking ube, pang everyday banking.